The music was faint, but it hit me like a freight train. Liam Carver, the golden boy of Aspen Ridge High, was belting out, "Can you feel the love tonight?" in a voice that could make angels weep. I stood frozen in the empty locker room, my sketchbook slipping from my hands, as his voice echoed through the tiles, raw and unguarded. By the time the shower shut off, I was halfway out the door, heart pounding like I'd just stolen the Mona Lisa. My name's Ezra Torres, and I'm not the guy who gets noticed. At 17, I'm the quiet kid with charcoal-stained fingers, always sketching in the back of class, blending into the Colorado mountain air like a ghost. Liam, though, he's the sunblonde, blue-eyed, track star, the kind of guy who walks into a room and makes everyone forget how to blink. He's untouchable, surrounded by his loud, popular crew, always laughing, always perfect. But that afternoon in the locker room, I learned a secret. And secrets, I've found, have a way of pulling you into someone's orbit, whether you're ready or not. It was late September, and Aspen Ridge was alive with the kind of crisp, golden energy that makes you feel like anything's possible. The school was buzzing about the upcoming homecoming game, and Liam was the name on everyone's lips, captain of the track team, rumored to be dating half the cheer squad, and destined for a scholarship to some fancy college. I, on the other hand, was just trying to survive pre-calc and avoid my mom's endless questions about why I never brought friends home. My life was small, contained, safe, until Liam. That evening, I sat in my room, sketching the curve of his jaw from memory, the way his voice had cracked on that high note. I couldn't shake it. Why Disney? Why that song? It wasn't just the singing, it was the vulnerability, the crack in his perfect facade. I wanted to know more. I needed to. But how do you approach the hottest guy in school when you're the kid who eats lunch in the art room? The next day, I saw him in the hallway, leaning against his locker with that effortless grin, his friends roaring about some party. Our eyes met for a split second, mine wide with panic. His cool and unreadable. Did he know I'd heard him? My stomach twisted, but I kept walking, clutching my sketchbook like a shield. That's when I noticed the flyer taped to the wall. Art club needs volunteers for homecoming float. Perfect. A chance to stay late, linger near the locker rooms, maybe catch him again, maybe figure out who Liam Carver really was. I signed up that afternoon, dragging my best friend, Maya, into it. Maya's the opposite of mebled, black, with a laugh that fills rooms and a knack for calling me out. "Ezra, you're scheming," she said, eyeing me over her coffee. "What's this float got to do with your sudden obsession with school spirit?" I shrugged, dodging her gaze. She didn't know about the shower. Nobody did. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. About him. The float project was chaos, glitter, paint, and a group of us arguing over whether the theme should be Mountain Pride or Starry Nights. I didn't care. I was there for one reason. The gym was next to the art room, and Liam's practice ended at 5 p.m. sharp. Sure enough, as the clock hit 5, I heard the familiar thud of sneakers and his voice, joking with his teammates. I lingered by the door, pretending to clean brushes, my heart doing somersaults. "Yo, Torres." My head snapped up. Liam was there, alone, his gym bag slung over his shoulder, hair still damp from a shower. "You're on the float crew, right?" His voice was casual, but his eyes lingered a beat too long. I nodded, words stuck in my throat. "Cool. Make it epic." "Yeah." He flashed that grin and walked off, leaving me dizzy. Was that it? Did he know? Or was I just another face in the crowd? That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying his voice, the Disney ballad, the way his gaze had held mine. I didn't know what I was chasing, but it felt bigger than me, bigger than Aspen Ridge. I pulled out my sketchbook and drew him again, this time mid-song. Eyes closed, water dripping down his face. It was the most honest thing I'd ever drawn, and the most dangerous. The art room became my stakeout spot. Every afternoon, I'd work on the float cutting plywood, painting stars while stealing glances at the gym doors. Maya noticed. Of course. You're acting like a detective in a bad rom-com. She teased, flicking paint at me. Spill it. Ezra. Who's got you all flustered? I mumbled something about stress, but she wasn't buying it. Maya's too smart for that. By Friday, I'd almost convinced myself to let it go. Liam was a fantasy, a fleeting moment I'd built into something it wasn't. Then it happened. I was in the locker room, grabbing supplies from a storage closet. When I heard it again, a whole new world. Soft and soulful, drifting from the showers. I froze, my pulse hammering. This wasn't a one-time thing. This was him. I didn't run this time. I waited. When the water stopped, I stepped into the open, clutching a paint roller like a lifeline. Liam emerged, towel around his waist, and stopped dead when he saw me. For a moment, neither of us spoke. His face was unguarded, almost scared, like I'd caught him stealing. Then he laughed, a nervous edge to it. You heard, didn't you? He said, running a hand through his wet hair. I nodded, my mouth dry. It was good, really good. He stared at me, like he was trying to figure out if I was mocking him. You gonna tell anyone? Torres. No, I said, too quickly. I wouldn't. He relaxed, just a fraction, and stepped closer. Why not? You could ruin me. Tell the whole school I'm a Disney nerd. I swallowed. Because it's not just Disney. It's you. His eyes widened, just for a second, and then he smiled, not the cocky grin he wore for his friends, but something softer. Real. You're weird. Ezra, he said, but there was no bite in it. He grabbed his clothes and left, but not before glancing back, like he was seeing me for the first time. That moment changed everything. I didn't know what it meant, but I knew I wasn't invisible anymore. Not to him. The next week was a blur of paint fumes and stolen glances. Liam started showing up at the art room, casually at first, like he was just passing by. He'd lean against the doorframe, watching us work on the float, tossing out sarcastic comments about our glitter obsession. But his eyes always found mine, lingering longer than they should have. I felt like I was balancing on a tightrope, one wrong step, and I'd fallen to something I couldn't name. Maya was onto me now. It's Liam, isn't it? She whispered one afternoon, her braids swinging as she leaned close. You're blushing every time he walks by? I denied it, but my sketchbook betrayed messages filled with his profile. His hands, the curve of his smile. She didn't push, but her knowing smirk followed me everywhere. Liam's visits got bolder. One day, he stayed after his teammates left, grabbing a paintbrush and joining me at the float. What's this supposed to be? He asked, pointing at the half-painted starry sky. Starry nights, I said, trying to sound normal. You know, like Van Gogh, but less swirly. He laughed, a sound that warmed the room. You're such a nerd, Torres. But he stayed, painting beside me, his arm brushing mine as we worked. It was the closest we'd ever been, and I could barely breathe. His hands were steady, confident, but I noticed the way he hummed under his breath, part of your world. I bit my lip to keep from smiling. Why do you do it? I blurted out, unable to stop myself. The singing. Disney. Of all things. He froze, paintbrush hovering. For a second, I thought I'd ruined everything. Then he shrugged, his voice low. My mom used to sing those songs to me when I was a kid. Before she, left. He didn't look at me, but the weight of his words hung between us. I didn't know what to say, so I just nodded, letting the silence hold us. That was the first crack in his armor. The first time I saw the boy behind the track star. Liam wasn't just the hottest guy in school, he was someone who carried loss like a shadow. Someone who found comfort in songs about dreams and love and magic. I wanted to tell him I got it, that I knew what it was like to hold on to something private to keep yourself whole. But I didn't. Not yet. Homecoming week arrived, and Aspen Ridge was a circus. Banners hung everywhere. Cheerleaders practiced in the halls. And Liam was at the center of it all. His name chanted like a prayer. I watched from the sidelines, sketching him in motion leaping over hurdles, laughing with his friends. But now, I saw the effort behind it, the way he performed for the crowd. I wondered how many people knew the real him. Maybe just me. The night before the game, the art club stayed late to finish the float. Liam showed up again, this time with a pizza box and a grin. "Fuel for the nerds," he said, dropping it on the table. The others cheered, but I caught his eye, and he winked. My heart did a backflip. We ended up alone, cleaning up after everyone left. The gym was quiet, the air heavy with the smell of paint and pine. "You're good at this," he said, nodding at my sketches pinned to the wall. "Why don't you show these off more?" I shrugged, embarrassed. "They're just mine. Private." He stepped closer, his voice soft. "Yeah, I get that." For a moment, I thought he might say more, but then his phone buzzed, and he stepped back, the spell broken. "See you at the game, Torres," he said, and he was gone. The homecoming game was electric. The stands were packed, the air sharp with autumn chill. I sat with Maya, who kept nudging me every time Liam's name boomed over the speakers. He was a blur on the track, all power and grace, and I couldn't take my eyes off him. When he won his race, the crowd erupted, and I clapped until my hands hurt. But it was his glance toward the stands toward Medhat made my chest ache. After the game, the float parade rolled through the field, our starry sky glittering under the stadium lights. Liam found me in the chaos, his face flushed from victory. "Not bad, artist," he said, nudging my shoulder. "You made us look good." "Us?" I teased, braver than usual. He grinned. "Yeah, us." And then, in the middle of the cheering crowd, he leaned in and whispered, "Meet me at the park tomorrow. Noon. Don't tell anyone." I nodded, my throat tight. As he walked away, Maya grabbed my arm. "Ezra Torres. What the hell was that?" she demanded, her eyes wide. I didn't answer. I couldn't. All I could think about was tomorrow, and what it might mean to meet Liam Carver in secret. The park was quiet when I arrived, the kind of quiet that makes your own heartbeat sound too loud. Golden leaves crunched under my sneakers as I walked to the bench by the pond, my sketchbook tucked under my arm. Liam was already there, sitting with his hands in his pockets, looking out at the water like it held all the answers. "Hey," I said, my voice shakier than I wanted. He turned, and his smile was different, nervous, almost shy. "Hey, Torres, you came." "Of course," I said, sitting beside him. The bench was small, our knees almost touching. I could smell his cologne, sharp and clean, mixed with the earthiness of the park. For a moment, we just sat there, watching ducks glide across the pond, the silence heavy with possibility. "Why'd you ask me here?" I finally said, my heart hammering. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he pulled out his phone, scrolled for a second, and handed it to me. It was a playlist, Disney hits. "This is me," he said quietly. "Not the track guy, not the popular kid. Just me." I stared at the screen, at song titles like Reflection and I See the Light, and felt something shift inside me. This wasn't just a secret. This was trust. "Why show me?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "Because you didn't laugh," he said. "You heard me singing, and you didn't make it a joke. You saw me." I swallowed hard, my fingers tightening around my sketchbook. "I see you now, too," I said, and before I could overthink it, I opened the book and showed him the sketch of him singing in the shower, water dripping down his face, eyes closed in quiet joy. His breath caught. Damn, Ezra, he said, his voice rough. That's me. He looked at me then. Really looked. And I felt like I was falling. Nobody's ever seen me like that. We talked for hours after that. About everything and nothing. He told me about his mom leaving when he was 10. How he'd play her old Disney CDs to feel close to her. I told him about my dad, who worked long hours at the hospital and barely knew I existed. We talked about dreams, his to run track in college. Mine to maybe, someday, show my art to the world. The sun sank low, painting the sky pink and gold. And when our fingers brushed, neither of us pulled away. By the time we left, something had changed. It wasn't just a crush anymore. It was something real, something fragile. And it scared the hell out of me. School was different after that. Liam started finding me between classes, slipping me notes with song lyrics scribbled in his messy handwriting. Be our guest. Torres. Lunch. Now. I'd laugh, my heart racing, and meet him in quiet corners of the cafeteria or behind the bleachers. We were careful nobody could know. Not as friends. Not mine. Aspen Ridge wasn't cruel, but it wasn't ready for us. Either. Maya, of course, saw through it all. You're glowing, Ezra, she said one day, her eyes narrowing. And don't tell me it's the fluorescent lights. I confessed a little, just enough to keep her from prying too hard. She hugged me, fierce and protective. Be careful. Okay. He's got a lot to lose. She was right. Liam's world was built on expectations, his dad's, his teammates, the whole damn town's. But when we were alone, he was different. He'd hum Disney tunes, tease me about my charcoal smudges. And once, when nobody was around, he grabbed my hand and held it for a full minute, his thumb tracing circles on my skin. It was the most alive I'd ever felt. Then came the rumor. It started small. A whisper in the halls. Liam Carver's been acting weird. Hanging out with that art kid. By Friday, it was louder, uglier. I overheard his teammate, Jake, in the cafeteria. What's Carver doing with Torres? He's not, you know. The word hung in the air. Unspoken but sharp. That afternoon, Liam found me in the art room, his face tight. People are talking, he said, his voice low. My dad heard something. He's pissed. My stomach dropped. What do we do? He looked at me, his eyes conflicted. I don't know, Ezra. I don't know how to be this guy and this. He gestured between us, and my heart sank. Was this it? Was this where it ended? But then he stepped closer, his voice fierce. I'm not giving this up. Not you. Not us. We just need to be careful. Okay. I nodded, relief flooding me. But as he left, I couldn't shake the feeling that careful might not be enough. The rumors grew like weeds, twisting through the halls of Aspen Ridge High. By mid-October, I couldn't walk to class without feeling eyes on me, whispers trailing like shadows. Liam and I were still meeting in Secretariat the park, in the art room after hours, but every moment felt stolen. Fragile. We were careful, but careful wasn't invisible. One night, we sat by the pond again, the air crisp with the promise of winter. Liam was quieter than usual. His usual spark dimmed. My dad's been on my case, he said, tossing a pebble into the water. He keeps asking why I'm not with the team as much. Says I'm distracted. I wanted to reach for him, but I didn't. Are you? I asked, my voice small. He looked at me, his blue eyes fierce. Yeah. By you. Before I could react, he leaned in and kissed me, quick and desperate, like he was afraid the world would end if he didn't. It was my first kiss, and it was everything: fire, fear, and a kind of hope I'd never known. When he pulled back, his face was flushed, his breath uneven. I've wanted to do that for weeks, he said. I touched my lips, dazed. Me too. But the world didn't stop for us. The next day, Jake cornered me in the hallway, his face twisted with suspicion. "What's going on with you and Carver?" he demanded, his voice loud enough to turn heads. "You two got some secret club or what?" I froze, my heart pounding. "Nothing's going on," I lied, but my voice cracked, and Jake's eyes narrowed. "Better not be," he said, shoving past me. "Liam's got a future. Don't mess it up." I told Liam about it later, in the art room, my hands shaking as I cleaned brushes. He cursed under his breath. Pacing. "Jake's an idiot," he said. "But he's not wrong about my dad. If he finds out." He didn't finish, but he didn't need to. I knew what was at stake: his scholarship, his reputation, his family. "We can stop," I said, the words cutting me like glass. "If it's too much." He stopped pacing, his eyes locking on mine. "No, I'm not losing you, Ezra. I just need time to figure this out." Time. It sounded so simple, but it felt like a ticking bomb. That night, I drew him again, this time with that desperate look in his eyes, the one he'd had before he kissed me. I poured everything into it: fear, love, hope. It was the best thing I'd ever drawn, and the scariest. The next week, things got worse. Someone spray-painted "freak" on my locker, the red paint dripping like blood. Maya was furious, ready to fight the whole school, but I just cleaned it off, my hands shaking. Liam didn't know I was at a track meet out of town, but I could feel the walls closing in. When he got back, I told him, and his face went pale. "I'll fix this," he said, his voice hard. "I'll talk to Jake. Make it stop." But talking to Jake only made it worse. By Friday, the rumors were a roar: Liam's gay. Liam's with the art kid. His teammates started freezing him out, their jokes turning sharp. At practice, I saw Jake shove him hard, and Liam didn't push back. He just took it. His shoulders slumped. That night, he showed up at my house, his eyes red. "I can't do this, Ezra," he said, his voice breaking. "My dad's threatening to pull me from the team. My whole life's falling apart." I felt like I'd been punched. "So what are you saying?" He looked at me, torn. "I need a break. Just a break." I nodded, my throat tight, and watched him walk away. The next day, he was back with his friends, laughing like nothing had happened, like I didn't exist. I went to the park alone, sat on our bench, and cried until I couldn't anymore. My sketchbook stayed closed. I couldn't draw him. Not like this. Maya found me there, her arms wrapping around me like a lifeline. "He's scared, Ezra," she said. "But you're stronger than this. You're stronger than him." I didn't feel strong. I felt broken. But she was right about one thing: I wasn't giving up. Not on myself. And maybe, just maybe, not on him. The weeks after Liam's break were a haze. I threw myself into art, painting murals for the school's winter festival, trying to fill the hole he'd left. The rumors didn't stop, but they shifted now they were about me. The weird kid who thought he could get close to Liam Carver. I didn't care. I was done hiding. Maya was my rock, dragging me to coffee shops, blasting music to drown out my thoughts. "You're Ezra freaking Torres," she said one night, handing me a latte. "You don't need him to shine." I wanted to believe her, but every time I saw Liam in the halls, surrounded by his friends, my chest ached. He wouldn't look at me. Not once. Winter came early to Aspen Ridge, blanketing the town in snow. I started sketching again. Not Liam, but my self-portraits of anger, grief, and something new: strength. I entered one in the school's art show. A bold, abstract piece of a boy breaking free from chains, colors exploding like fireworks. It was me, and it was terrifyingly honest. The night of the art show, the gym was packed. My piece hung in the corner, drawing whispers from the crowd. I stood nearby, nervous, when I saw him, Liam, alone, staring at my painting. His face was unreadable, but his eyes were raw, like he was seeing something he'd lost. "You made this?" he asked, his voice low. I nodded, my heart pounding. "Yeah." He stepped closer, his voice barely audible. "It's you. And it's me, too, isn't it?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. He knew. The next day, he found me in the art room, his hands shoved in his pockets. "I messed up, Ezra," he said. "I was scared, and I hurt you. I'm sorry." I wanted to be angry, but all I felt was relief. "Why now?" I asked. He swallowed hard. "Because I saw your painting. Because I can't stop thinking about you. Because I'm tired of pretending I'm someone I'm not." I stared at him, my heart caught between hope and fear. "What does that mean, Liam?" "It means I'm done hiding," he said, his voice steady. "I told my dad. I told my team. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I want to try. With you." I didn't know what to say, so I didn't say anything. I just stepped forward and hugged him. Tight, like I could hold all his broken pieces together. He hugged me back, and for the first time, I felt like we were both free. The rest of the year wasn't a fairy tale. Liam's dad didn't speak to him for weeks, and some of his teammates never came around. But others did. And slowly, the whispers in the halls faded. We weren't loud about it, no grand gestures, no public displays. Just us, meeting at the park, sharing playlists, laughing over Disney lyrics. I showed my art more, and he started singing again, not just in the shower, but at a school talent show, where he brought the house down with "You'll Be in My Heart." One night, as snow fell outside my window, Liam sat on my bed, strumming a guitar he'd borrowed from a friend. He sang softly, "I See the Light," and I sketched him, my heart full. We weren't perfect, and the world wasn't either. But we were honest, and that was enough. In the end, it wasn't about being the hottest guy in school or the quiet artist in the corner. It was about finding someone who saw you, really saw you, and choosing to be brave enough to see them back. Liam taught me that courage isn't loud, it's the quiet choice to be yourself, even when it hurts. And I'd like to think I taught him that, too.